They're flying under the radar this morning around the league that we know and love inside and out. And the Commanders, we talk about a lot. We talked about them last year with the new vibes, and they made some changes. They found their quarterback, and yeah, the focus has been him, this dynamo, getting standing ovation at Wizards games there in the area. But we've been overlooking, when that happens, when you give all the love to the offense and the Hail Mary, when something like that happens, that's so iconic, you sort of overlook the defense. It's just natural, it's human, it's what happens. But there's been this real important turnaround that Dan Quinn, that Adam Peters, their incredible GM, that their first time, incredibly, for extraordinary D-Coordinator Whitt, that they sort of pulled off this switch, this advancement, this evolution, even before the Lattimore trade. So, like, the Lattimore trade made this better, but the Commanders ranked dead last year in scoring, in pass defense, in total defense. This is historically bad, and just less than a year later, here they are. They improved to 11th in scoring defense, 14th in total. Like, they moved, pass defense is 5th now. That is as dramatic a change as you're ever going to see from one year to the next. Now, I really want to make like a political metaphor, but I'm not gonna. DQ and Peters have overhauled the roster. With the Lattimore trade, 9 of their 11 defensive starters are completely different from what they were at this point last year under the old regime. So Luvu, we love, we saw him, we met him. Bobby Wagner, my favorite player, probably of all time, because Hamilton like infiltrated my mind and manipulated me, but I love him so much. Like, they added physicality, some leadership, obviously championship pedigree that comes from having Wagner just on the squad. But, you know, second round picks, Mikey Sainristil and Johnny Newton, they're more athletic. We had Payne, we talked to him. He had some vigor in him. He wanted to get things done to continue to help be a force up front after a down year. DQ has these guys motivated. These are highly, Deron Payne got paid. Like, what is he playing for? He wants to win. He wants a ring. He wants to be there for DQ anytime, anywhere, any place. Getting better players doesn't always have instant results, right? It takes time. It's really this coaching with Dan Quinn, with Joe Whitt, who I need to learn more about. I can't wait to meet him. I haven't met him. They deserve a lot of credit for that. And then they add, of course, the icing to the cake and 4-time Pro Bowler Marshawn Lattimore. So the defense should be getting better. They're going to build more chemistry. And, when I saw this trade go, I knew this trade was going to go down, and it made sense all around. We called it on the show yesterday, and I wonder if Marshawn was like, "Oh, Mike Evans is on IR, and he's done, so I don't have my Joker to my Batman anymore. I need a new rival." That was my favorite cornerback wide receiver rivalry. So I wanted to just take a little second here and just remember and reminisce. I mean, they were writing stuff 8 years ago on dessert plates. I literally remember 8 years ago, around the election. Mike Evans put Lattimore on in chocolate sauce on a plate or something. Hamilton, do you remember this? We gotta look that up. Something happened between those two. Remember that, Hamilton? I think it was literally election morning. Something happened where there was a Snapchat or something, and they were they used to go at it week in, week out, whenever they'd face each other those 2 times. Do you remember that though?
I don't remember that specific incident, but yeah, obviously on the field, every time there was something every single game. It became appointment viewing. I want to watch Bucs Saints to see what these two guys are gonna do.
I'm gonna miss it. So then you and I were texting yesterday, and we were thinking, who's the new Mike Evans? Like, who could that be? Maybe nobody. Maybe it was just that special. But we kind of came up with it's got to be A.J. Brown, right? Because we said this is why they're making the trade, right? They're not resting on their laurels. Their pass defense is great, but they want it to be able to handle the Heisman-winning Devontae Smith and the A.J. Brown, who's always feisty. They get these guys. They get these guys twice a year at least, right? Week 16, they get him again. These two are trying to nuke each other for the top of the NFC East. But is there somebody else that could arise as the guy? I don't think so. It's got to be A.J.
I feel like it's got to be you could throw out maybe CD Lamb, but I just think with AJ, with his mentality out there, he has that mentality that he wants to dominate. He wants to bully you around a little bit. And that's the guy that's really been the thorn in the side of the Commanders over the last couple of years. Every time they play, it seems like he kills them. That's what this, to me, I look at it that's what this move is really about. Those 2 games against the Eagles are probably going to decide this division. And that matchup could be the thing that tips the scales one way or the other.
Yeah, very interesting. I feel like it's been quite. I just need the rivalry. I need some. I need some juice. I don't think he'll track CD Lamb the whole game.
Yeah, that's the thing. The CD moves around a
Yeah.
little bit more. Like he plays in the slot a lot. I don't know if I necessarily see that happening. You're right.
And who knows how that'll go with Cooper. Look at me knowing things. Okay, so we'll see. I mean, they've got Russell. They've got the Steelers this weekend. Steelers adding a new piece, right? So that's interesting. Dan Quinn. That's fun, too. Tell me about that. Dan Quinn and Russell. They know each other from way back.
Yeah, so they go back to Russell's rookie year in Seattle. Dan Quinn was the linebackers coach and the defensive coordinator of the Super Bowl winning Seahawks. So they have a lot of history there together. They've also faced each other a lot. Russell against the Falcons when Dan Quinn was the head coach. Russ is 3-2 against Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn did get him in the playoffs though. So we'll see if he can even out that little rivalry within the rivalry.
Here's what I want to say, and the whole point, I know we're going way over here, but there was a time, a good decade, I would say. Tell me if I'm wrong, I might be exaggerating. But you'd be playing fantasy football. This is how we can all rally around and relate to this. You're starting everybody against Washington. They can't stop the run. They can't stop it through the air. Like you're setting that. You're literally exploiting that matchup. You can't do that anymore with this Washington team, and it's going under the radar, and we're giving it love today. All right,
absolutely,
Hamilton. Yeah. You're the best.
Let's get to that.
See you in a bit. Let's talk about something else that we're underreacting to. So we're giving love to the Commanders. They make a trade. We're going to get into that a little bit. There'll be a lot of Commanders in today's show because Kevin Durant's here, of course. We're also completely underreacting to the stretch that Justin Herbert is putting together, okay? Beginning of the year, everyone talking about how the Chargers are running the ball so much more. Justin's barely throwing it. He doesn't have any receiver, blah, 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 blah. The script has changed, okay? There have been changes, David Bowie, and we're not talking about it. Herbert had a monster game on Sunday against the Browns. Perfect passer rating in the first half, taking advantage of miscommunications to hit these huge plays. I felt like watching it was just one after the other. And sure, it's a young receiver group. They're hitting their stride right now, okay? Quentin Johnston, we've been waiting. We've been waiting for you at 6'4". Look at you! Out there alongside Lattimore, Lad McConkey, and Josh Palmer. And Justin is just catching fire. Run heavy first month, of course. I warned you it's going to be boring and run heavy, but now, and you saw, look at this. Herbert ranked dead last in passing. Last 4 games, doubled his yards per game. He ranks 3rd in the NFL. One of the best stretches we've ever seen from him. Okay, Roman. Chargers, they've won 3 of the last 4 in the process. Run games looked good. They still have the number 1 scoring defense, but number 1 scoring defense on this team right now, that's underreacted to. It doesn't always look super pretty, but Harbaugh's team is for real, and they're gaining momentum week in, week out. Love to see it. They're 6th in the AFC right now, by the way. If you're hanging out over on FanDuel Sportsbook, setting your stuff for Bengals-Ravens tomorrow, take a look at this. They're favored to make the playoffs at -300 over there on FanDuel Sportsbook. They get the Titans on Sunday, 7.5-point favorites, with a chance to move to 6-3. I like that. You need to look at that. Should we talk about a maniac? Let's do it. Finally, it's that time of year. Again, we have to talk about Trey Hendrickson. Let's keep bringing him up because here's what happens. He gets lost in the All-Pro Defensive Player of the Year shuffle. And he, once again, is sort of, maybe started slowly, but he's a wondrous human being when he's out on the field, an absolute tornado out there. He had a 4-sack game on Sunday, and I don't hear anybody talking about it. Oh, it's against the Raiders. Shut up. He leads the NFL with 11 sacks. Take that, everybody else. Take that in your DPOY odds. Okay, this is going to challenge Strahan's record right there. These highlights are so stupid. He's absolutely terrifying. Menace. I don't even want to talk to him. I'm scared of him. He's just running through people, truly stealing people's souls, as Bruce Smith once told me. The Bengals have dealt with a lot of injuries. They've been really handed a bad hand. Coach Lewin, I love you, sending you love, but this is the reason that they're turning things around. And that's not enough for you. Look at this. He's been leading the league in sacks since the start of last year as well. 7.5 more than Myles Garrett. DPOY, Myles Garrett, 3 more than current DPOY fave and past winner, TJ Watt. And if you even want to stretch this back, let's go back a little further here. 5 seasons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's 1 sack behind Myles, 4 behind Watt, and then no one else is within 13 sacks of him. And yet, where are this man's All-Pros? Where are his nods? Where's his first or second team? Not even a first or second team is disrespectful. Not a single vote for Defensive Player of the Year. Not a single vote. Third place vote or any, it's insane. It's insane, unwarranted, doesn't make sense with the numbers, but he's gonna change that this year. He clearly has to be undeniable. He's gotta be that much better than the guys that get touted about this. He's tied for second shortest odds to win Defensive Player of the Year with Chris Jones, okay? Love Chris Jones, I could see it, but there's a pretty big gap between those two and Watt at -135. I don't know, that can close kind of quickly. If he puts up a monster performance, this is a game for him tomorrow. He wants that all, he deserves it, but he's not gonna get it. He's gotta take it. He's gotta take it from people. He's gotta take it from Lamar tomorrow night under the bright lights, guys. Go vote. Go vote. Go vote on our props. Over on FanDuel Sportsbook.